this year, my office received a formal request from the Office of the Special Prosecutor to initiate extradition proceedings for Ken Ofori Atta and Ernest Akore from the United States of America.
We have details of these stories and a lot more coming to you shortly. Please stay with us. Welcome to the program. Thank you for joining us on our social media platforms, 3FM 927. Before we get into the details of the stories, let's find out what other stories are making rounds today. Christabel Treve is joining us. Christabel, good to have you. What do you have for us?
Hi, Crosby. It's good to see you here today, too. And tonight we begin with not too good story because a tragic incident has struck the Anlonga Evangelical Presbyterian EP Basic School in the Volta region on Wednesday when a swarm of bees invaded the school compound, leaving one student dead and 3 others in critical condition. The chaos began when the students were playing football and the ball got stuck in a tree. Now, in an attempt to retrieve it, a stone was thrown, inadvertently disturbing a hidden bee nest and triggering the attack. We'll be bringing you updates on this matter. Now, the Ghana National Fire Service has announced plans to launch a nationwide compliance exercise from Wednesday, December 18, 2025, to ensure that all vehicles on Ghana's roads are equipped with functional Ghana National Fire Service certified portable fire extinguishers. The exercise, led by the Ghana National Fire Service Safety Compliance Task Force, will be carried out in collaboration with the National Road Safety Authority and the Police Motor Traffic and Transport Department. While in a release issued on December 16, the service said its officers would conduct on-the-spot safety inspections at various locations across the country. A 26-year-old corn miller has been put before the Accra Circuit Court for allegedly preparing to burn down shops at the Katamanto Market in Accra. According to the prosecution, Kwame Asare told police investigators that he took the decision to burn the shops because some individuals within the market were worrying him. Now, he has been charged with 1 count of preparation to cause unlawful damage. And finally, the Director of Communications at the Ghana Tourism Authority, GTA, Bright Asempa Chadide, has highlighted that the December in Ghana initiative has drawn a significant influx of international tourists, with events taking place across nearly all regions of the country. Now, Mr. Chadide said the initiative under the Black Star Experience was intentionally marketed abroad through road shows to position Ghana as a prime Christmas destination. This and a whole lot more on our website. Crosby, over to you.
Christabel, thank you so much for bringing us those stories. Christabel Treve updating us from with other news in the country. Let's get right into the details of the stories, shall we? Let's start off from here. The Minister for the Interior, Muntaka Mohammed Mubarak, has imposed a dusk to dawn curfew on Nalerigu Township and its environs in the northeast region following security assessments by the National Security Council. The curfew, enforced through an executive instrument, takes effect from 5 p.m. to 6 a.m. beginning today, Thursday, December 18, 2025. Now, in a statement issued a while ago, the Interior Minister said the directive forms part of measures aimed at restoring calm and preventing further escalation of tensions in the area. Government has urged chiefs, elders, opinion leaders, the youth and residents to exercise restraints and to adopt non-violent means in addressing the challenges confronting the community. As part of the security measures, authorities have imposed a total ban on the carrying of arms, ammunition, and offensive weapons within Nalerigu and its surrounding areas. Security agencies have been directed to arrest and prosecute any individual found in possession of prohibited items. In addition, several specific activities have been outlawed under the new restrictions. These include the movement of motorbikes, the wearing of smocks, the sale of fuel in containers, as well as unlawful assembly. Now, the government said the measures are necessary to support security operations and prevent acts that could undermine public safety. Now, residents have been cautioned to comply fully with the directives, while security agencies intensify patrols to enforce the curfew and restore order there. The specific trigger for the curfew has not officially been disclosed. However, earlier reports indicate that some angry youth in Nalerigu allegedly set ablaze the residence of a local chief. Chief Zakaria Nantoma, said to belong or be one of the 7 elders of the Mamprogu Kingdom. Let's get some more details on this and speak with our reporter Solomon Kanaluwe, our Northeast Regional Correspondent, with some more updates. Solomon, good to have you. Thank you so much for joining us. Good evening to you. Can you provide more details? What we have is scanty on the specific incidents. What is the current understanding of the motivations behind these attacks?
All right, so thank you so much. In fact, this morning around 9 a.m., in fact, a group well armed went to one of the sub-chiefs in the Nalerigu Mamprogu Kingdom. And in fact, they set the house ablaze. In fact, what I gathered from the reasons behind this attack has to do with the mediation report Otumfo submitted to President John Dramani Mahama. According to the group, they are saying that some of the chiefs were bribed to accept the verdict. And so after burning the chief's house, they were moving to another sub-chief's house, but likely the security were able to put everything under control. So as it stands now, these are the 2 reasons. And then also Gambaga, another set of group, well armed, according to the police, also went to vandalize the NDC office in Gambaga. So far, these are some of the incidents.
Talk to us about the security situation on the ground in the face of the recent agitations in Nalerigu and surrounding areas.
So as it stands now, I can tell you that security in Nalerigu and its environs is very tight. Initially, though, there were tensions regarding the movement of these thugs, whom are not even known to some of the citizens. But as it stands now, we have military presence putting the situation under control, and then we have the police and then other security agencies, in fact, around the corners and borders of Nalerigu and its environs. So as it stands now, though you can still sense some danger, but however, the security presence also gives some hopes to the citizens.
Solomon, before you leave us this evening, the residents, how are they responding to this new curfew imposition?
In fact, this curfew, some of the residents, is not a surprise to them. Because looking at the incidents, they said they knew very well that some of these things will happen. However, the curfew is supposed to start at 5, and I can say that it's just 5. So most of the citizens are moving to their various houses. This is not the first curfew they are witnessing. And so looking at what happened during the first one, I can tell you that most of the citizens are responding and are, in fact, moving to their various houses.
Solomon, thank you. Thank you so much for speaking with us. Solomon Kanaluwe is our Northeast Regional Correspondent, updating us on the situation in Nalerigu and its surrounding communities. Let's get to the thoughts of a security analyst, Richard Kumado. He's been following the development and he's joining us on the phones now. Richard, good evening to you. Thank you so much for joining us. We thought we were approaching, or we have arrived at an end to all of this. What is happening?
Definitely, it was expected. I believe is as a result that we have the curfew being imposed. What we did earlier was that curfew was imposed on Boko. Curfews are security measures, short-term security measures to ensure security management balances. In the wisdom of the Interior Minister, imposed a curfew on Boko. Some of us were of the view that the curfew should have been imposed all over the place, but they chose Boko for some reason. To the extent that this one happened, the right thing to do is to impose curfew for the security officers to have a full grip of the place. And so that is where we are. I believe it will subside if government enforce the recommendation and Ashanti reconciliation also starts. It will calm down tempest, and we will stop seeing many of these things as it goes on.
There's the fear that this would escalate into something the security that may not be able to properly contain, would lead to loss of lives and properties amongst others. How do we, solve this once and for all?
I don't believe that our security officers are ineptitude and they don't have the power to deal with the situation we are talking about. There's an aspect of this whole thing that sometimes we don't want to see on air. We are security officers to maintain law and order, and we are the same people who hold them back. Boko is a small place. The amount of weapons and warriors in Boko cannot defeat not even one platoon of our Ghana Armed Forces, let alone the special forces within the law enforcement sector. But we ask them to maintain law and order, and we hold their hands back. If we release them to do what is right, in line with structured security management, they would have dealt with some of these things. But we keep on playing hot and cold with it. And I believe that is why it's looking the case. The conflict, the mediation, and the report that was presented by Asante indicates clearly that has nothing to do with security. And it has nothing to do with law enforcement. Law enforcement officers predominantly have two functions: maintain law and order, and in doing so, make sure that safety breaches do not occur. And when they occur, you realign and provide security assurances to the people. And exactly what they have been doing for all these years. And that is what they have done this evening.
I see. Now, talk to me about the roles other stakeholders have to play so that this does not escalate. Talking about the chiefs, for instance, that reported that all of this is emanating from the attack of a chief by the youth in the area. What roles do traditional leaders, authorities, do they have to play coming on the back of the latest interventions from the Asante Otumfuo 82 II?
No, Asante said, Mensia, together with House of Chiefs and Peace Council, we will begin. We will commence negotiation. No, not negotiation, reconciliation. And as part of the reconciliation, the government should give him the opportunity to retrieve the guns within the area because he saw them when he visited. And he said he's going to pay for those guns, which in security management, in line with guns control, we call it a buyback policy. If it's going to ensure buyback policy, it will take them some time to retrieve those arms. And unwillingness of people to give up their arms may come with some level of discomfort to them. And number two, we don't need a soothsayer prophet to say that our traditional leaders must put their feet down and do what is right. When we get to a stage where traditional authorities have become powerless and people can overrun them, then we are asking for chaos, and we are creating the premises for chaos. But on the side of Brigadier General Walanyo and his men on the ground, they know what their assignment is. They know precisely why they are there. And they have reiterated the point that they will maintain law and order. We only hope and pray that they keep to their word and make sure they maintain law and order and making sure that law and order is maintained at all levels, at all places. That's the only way it's going to bring some level of calmness to the place.
Richard Kumado, thank you. Thank you so much for sharing your insights with us. Richard Kumado is a security consultant speaking with us on the latest development in Nalerigu and its environs there. This is still Hot Issues live on 3FM 92.7. We're also live on all our social media platforms at 3FM 927. Let's bring you some other stories tonight. And government has formally submitted an extradition request to the United States authorities for former Finance Minister Ken Ofori Atta and his former technical advisor Ernest Akore to face 78 corruption-related charges. The Attorney General and Minister for Justice, Dr. Dominic Ayine, disclosed this when he took his turn at the Government Accountability Series at the Jubilee House earlier today. Now, Dr. Ayine said the extradition request was made at the prompting of the Office of the Special Prosecutor following investigations into the Strategic Mobilization Limited, the SML Revenue Assurance deal with the Ghana Revenue Authority. Now, the investigations, he explained, culminated in the filing of criminal charges against Mr. Ofori Atta and others at the High Court. According to him, his office received a formal request from the special prosecutor on November 19 this year to initiate extradition proceedings for the two accused persons who are believed to be residing in the United States. Dr. Ayene noted that the decision on whether the two individuals would be extradited now rests with the American judicial authorities. Take a listen to what Dr. Dominic Ayene said earlier.
On November 19th, 2025, that is this year, my office received a formal request from the Office of the Special Prosecutor to initiate extradition proceedings for Ken Ofori Atta and Ernest Akore from the United States of America. Following a preliminary review, our International Cooperation Unit observed that certain aspects of the request required clarification and enhancements to align with the applicable legal and procedural requirements. We communicated these observations to the Office of the Special Prosecutor via a letter dated 25th November 2025 and requested supplementary documentation to ensure completeness. On December 9th, 2025, the Office of the Special Prosecutor provided a requested additional documentation and addressed the observations that we raised, thereby finalizing the extradition request packages. Subsequently, on December 10, 2025, my office transmitted the complete request to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs for onward transmission to the competent authorities in the United States of America. That is, in this case, the Department of Justice of the United States. At this point, it is left to the American authorities, especially the judicial authorities, to make a determination on whether a sufficient basis exists for the two accused persons to be extradited to Ghana to stand trial. And because the matters have already been filed, and because they have been filed by the Office of the Special Prosecutor, I am not permitted to go into the details of the charges. But the charge sheet is a public document and has been made available. And all of you, I'm sure, have access to it. There are 78 charges against Honorable Ken Ofori Atta and his accomplices, and they border on causing financial loss to the state, using public office for private benefit, and so on and so forth. So you can look at the charge sheet and then make up your minds with respect to the charges. So I won't comment on them in today's press conference. Basically, what I want Ghanaians to know is that this government is committed to accountability, and the government has taken the requisite steps that are legally required for the Honorable Ken Ofori Atta and Ernest Akore to be extradited to Ghana, to be brought to Ghana to face justice.
Dr. Dominic Ayene is the Attorney General and Minister for Justice speaking there. Well, he further indicated that Ken Ofori Atta is likely to mount a legal challenge, but assured the public that government has taken all legally required steps to ensure accountability and to secure the return of the accused persons to Ghana to face trial.
There is a sense that persecution will take place rather than prosecution, that a person will not be treated fairly if extradited. Is most likely, extradition will not take place. If you cannot show by your extradition packet, that is the request that you have sent to the U.S., that the one that I have sent to the U.S., there is sufficient evidence, okay, to come to a conclusion, a reasonable conclusion that a crime has been committed, even though you still have the burden to prove that crime beyond reasonable doubt, all right, extradition may not be granted. So the basic point I want to make is that, yes, the principle of reciprocity applies, okay, and I would have been very happy to hand over Abutrika as I have done, okay, and then get Ofori Atta quickly in return, all right. But usually the extradition proceedings take place in a court of competent jurisdiction. In our case, that is the district court. All right. In the U.S., it will also be the federal district court. Now, mind you, the person who is the subject matter of extradition will fight it in court. Okay, so the American authorities won't just take my request and say, here you are, here is Ken Ofori Atta, and then here is, his other accomplished, and you take them, and then they can face trial. It will have to go through court proceedings in the U.S. All right, and I just got to know, that he has hired some of the top. Yesterday, I got to know that he has hired some of the top lawyers in the United States of America, very experienced lawyers, to defend him. Now, I'm not afraid at all. All right, I am not afraid at all. But it means that there's going to be a fight in the federal courts in the U.S. If the district court says no, he will go to the circuit court. All right. If the circuit court says no, he's entitled to go to the U.S. Supreme Court to fight his case. So I cannot tell you that he will come tomorrow or he will come the next day. Okay, and I'm just being honest. Accounting to the people means being explicit and truthful. So this is what we are faced with. But I have, on behalf of the government of His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, we have taken the requisite steps to bring him to Ghana to face trial. And if I were him, this is his home. He should just join the next flight and come here. Under my watch, he will not be treated unfairly. He will go through due process and be prosecuted just like any other person, just like Kobina Edubohi or Hanan or any of the persons that I have filed charges against.
That again was Dr. Dominic Ayeni, the Attorney General and Minister for Justice, and this was just a few hours ago when he took a stand at the Government Accountability Series, responding to questions on the latest concerning Ken Ofori Atta. And he says that under his watch, and I'm talking about Ken Ofori Atta, will be treated fairly. Well, following this conversation and the latest happening, plus the revelations from the Attorney General, legal brains have been wading into the conversation. I spoke with lawyer Martin Pigbo a few minutes ago, and this is our conversation.
What is your initial reaction to the Attorney General's confirmation that a formal extradition request has been sent to U.S. For Ken Ofori Atta and Ernest Akore?
On paper, I must say I'm a bit happy because at least we've moved a few steps forward. Okay, that's notionally. But the fact that the request has been made doesn't mean that Ofori Atta is coming back immediately. That's why I'm speaking in a hesitant tone. Yeah, because it's going to be a long-drawn battle. Because you heard the Attorney General add that Ofori Atta has engaged top-notch lawyers from the U.S. to defend him. So, listen, my brother, if Ofori Atta wanted to come down easily without a fight, why would he go pay plenty money to top-notch lawyers? Top-notch, that's the emphasis. Even already going to see a lawyer is expensive, right? Much less a top-notch, it's not one lawyer, it's a law firm, top-notch lawyers. So it tells you that from every indication, unless maybe some negotiations happen, very serious negotiations at the highest level happen, backdoor to make him come down immediately, it's going to be a long-drawn battle. Yes, because you look at it, let's step back and look at it. Why would somebody who wants to come home willingly go hire top-notch lawyers to defend the extradition process? Why would anybody do that? If you are coming back home, you are coming to your own country. So why? You need lawyers. If you are going home suddenly at Ofori Atta's age, when he's coming back to Ghana, he needs lawyers to guide him. No. So that's why I'm so angry. So the second part of my answer is that they mention that we have now done the former extradition request makes me angry. It reminds me about how Kisi Ejabe, the special prosecutor, aided Ofori Atta to flee from this country. I'm not the one saying he said a number of things that before Ofori Atta traveled, Kisi Ejabin intercepted the letter Ofori Atta wrote to the previous chief of staff and the incoming chief of staff, right? And then also he said he attempted to arrest Ofori Atta, but he was powerless. Went to immigration, didn't get help. Went to NIB, National Intelligence Bureau, didn't get help. Then went to National Security, didn't get help. It turned out that these are false. At least as I'm speaking to you now, I have two separate letters, one from the NIB and another from National Security, saying that Kisi Ejabin didn't seek their help. It's not just in writing. The word I used in that letter was whether Kisi Ejabin sought their assistance. I didn't say that they did write a letter. I said sought their assistance. Yeah, he didn't. So I'm angry because the mention of that case of Ofori Atta's extradition proceedings and etc. gets me angry because this is needless. This is an own goal. This is a needless infliction, right? An own goal. The man was here. Why allow him to go without asking for bail?
Yeah. So, Counsel, from a legal standpoint, how significant is this move, considering Ghana's history with high-profile extradition cases?
This case, it's not easy, and then let's be careful not to draw parallels between this and any other case. The reason I'll say so is that Ofori Atta, from what we've heard, has engaged top-notch lawyers. So this battle is not it's not an ordinary extradition case we're going to see. I haven't seen its parallel in recent times. I don't know which Ghanaian case I can refer to in recent times. It doesn't appear to me to have a parallel. The ones that we've extradited, generally we have extradited Ghanaians to the U.S. to go stand trial. There's not one that I can immediately recollect that we extradited somebody. The Americans brought down somebody. I don't immediately recollect. Maybe if you have any example you can bring up. So it's really going to be unique in this sense because of Ofori Atta's power and the money he got from Ghana and, the hiring of top-notch lawyers. This complicates everything.
Okay, so if you're explaining the extradition process between Ghana and the U.S., what legal hurdles is this request likely to face?
The most difficult one, the first one we should be looking at is the issue of the political nature of the case. So if the case appears to be a political witch hunt, you see, there are the formal rules about double criminality. That's the case why we are bringing him down to Ghana, right, must be an offense that the Americans also recognize. Obviously, yes, if you say corruption-related, causing financial loss, all those ones, yes, the Americans recognize that. That is not a problem. But where we'll have the challenge is when the issue of political persecution. So people have been saying that if Ofori Atta makes a case that, look, it's not really about corruption, but it's a witch hunt, all those ones, it's going to complicate matters. That's the first one. Then number two, also prison conditions. Yes, I have previous experience in this area where I did a case, and based on our prison conditions, it had to do with a UK citizen who was to be brought down to Ghana. When we did our report and it showed that our prison conditions were very bad, the UK authorities didn't extradite him because they said, look, no, these your prisons are not fit for purpose. So that's one practical case I've dealt with when it comes to prison conditions and how it affects the extradition proceedings. So we are watching, in summary, the political angle, and then number two, prison conditions.
So that was the conversation I had with lawyer Martin Bigbu a few minutes ago, and that was in relation to the latest from the Attorney General, Dr. Dominic Ayine, talking about how strong Ghana's extradition case and the U.S. law is. And Martin Bigbu very cautiously optimistic that although we have moved forward, this does not mean that Ken Ofori Atta is on his way back into the country. We're likely to see a very, very long legal battle, as Ken Ofori Atta, we understand, has engaged some lawyers, top lawyers, both of them put it. Dominic Haynes says top lawyers. Lawyer Martin Pigbu also is describing them as top lawyers from a law firm to fight this, essentially saying that lawyer Martin Pigbu will not go down without a fight. These and more will be on our website, 3news.com. Please log on to have a full understanding of some of the latest developments there. This is still hot edition on 3FM 92.7. We're also live on all our social media platforms at 3FM 927. Join us there. Leave your thoughts. We'll be glad to share them with the rest of the world. Let's bring you some other stories tonight. Let's take you to Pandai right now, up north, where judgment for the application for stay of execution by lawyers of embattled Member of Parliament for Pandai, Matthew Nyendam, has been deferred by the Commercial Division of the High Court to a yet-to-be-determined date. Registrar of the court told journalists that the deferment of the judgment is because, now listen to this, the presiding judge is indisposed. On November 24, lawyers for Matthew Nyendam filed an application for stay of execution following the High Court's ruling ordering a rerun of the Pandai parliamentary election. Even before the determination of that application, lawyers for Matthew Nyendam also filed a certiorari application at the Supreme Court. The Apex Court on Tuesday, December 16, in a unanimous decision, ruled that the December 30 rerun for the Pandai parliamentary election be put on hold after the NDC parliamentary candidate in the 2024 parliamentary election, Daniel Nsala Wakpele, challenged the results. The Apex Court has since set January 13 next year, 2026, for judgment of the certiorari application. Let's take a listen to former Defense Minister, who is MP for Bimbila constituency, Dominic Nituo. This is what he had to say concerning the development.
No, not at all. Somebody thinks we are not God, so we cannot tell what the issues are. We can only leave God on the faith and say that for us, we'll be in Accra at the Supreme Court on the 13th to listen to the respondent, what you say, and for also the plaintiff's lawyer to move the substantive case of certiorari. So we are very comfortable with what we are seeing. We would have wished that he himself is here, but because when the person is indisposed, there's basically nothing that you can do. But like you said, we are the judiciary to determine one simple case. And our case is very simple, that the Supreme Court has already determined that the Gazette notification date for Panda and some other 270 constituencies, making 271, as upheld by the High Court in the Akwatia case, and also determined by the Supreme Court, was on the 24th of December. And if that is the case, the respondent, in this case, Daniel Nsala Wakwa, filed 32 days after the 24th of December. And so clearly it's out of time. And this court should not even have heard this matter. That's basically what our case is. And the Supreme Court, having determined in the Akwatia case that the 24th was the actual date for Akwatia, including Pandai, and then all the way to 71 constituencies, we are firmly convinced that my brother will be in Parliament to continue his duty to represent the people of Panda until 6th of January 2029. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
That's the voice of former Defense Minister Dominic Nituo reacting to the latest development as the team went to court, but the presiding judge was indisposed. Christopher Marco is my colleague. He has been following all of this in Pandai. He's joining us with some more context to this and where we've come from and where we're likely to go in the face of the recent happenings. Christopher, good evening. Thank you for joining us. This is Dominic Nituo speaking there, but what has been the situation over the past couple of days?
Yes, so I must say, probably, that the situation in Pandai is peaceful. People are going about their normal duties. For now, the conversation, even though it's on the court processes that is currently going on in the courts, but they believe that whichever way it goes, whether a rerun or they are going to maintain Martin Yindam as the member of parliament for Pandai, they do not have anything to say. But majority of the people who, for now, have not decided are saying that, look, we need development in the area, and they have given instances of some by-elections in the country where they have seen massive development as a result of the by-election, because each of the political parties, especially the one in government, wanted to win in these areas. So they are praying that should there even be a rerun, it will lead to some level of development in the area.
Christopher, thank you. But how are the constituents, how are they reacting to all of this back and forth?
Yeah, so they are saying that they need an MP to stand in for them for now. They don't have an MP in Parliament because of the letter that the Clerk of Parliament wrote to the chairperson of the Electoral Commission. And so all they are saying is that, look, some are saying, let's forget all this process. Let's Matu Yindam continue as a member of parliament so that whatever is due Pandai will come to Pandai. Now, others are also of the view that, look, once there were some discrepancies in the 2024 parliamentary election, they want these issues rectified so that future elections will be free of these incidents. And so majority are also of the view that, look, once the people have decided, they have announced, let's allow it slide so that Matu Yindam will continue. So very divergent views. The people, everyone has a view to share on this, whereas others believe that, look, let's have the election. Others are saying that let's allow Matu to continue so that we'll get the needed development.
Christopher, thank you for joining us and providing us those updates. Christopher Marcus speaking to us there. Let's get in touch with Sylvester Isang. He's lawyer for the embattled Member of Parliament, Matthew Yindam, and he's joining us now with also some reactions. Sylvester, good evening to you. Thank you for joining us. I don't know how your client is reacting or responding to all of this back and forth. What is his disposition right now?
Well, it doesn't change. We believe that the status quo remains until there is a final pronouncement, either affirming or question the decision of the High Court Commercial Division, Tamale. The status quo remains that Martin Yindam, at the moment, for us, is still the Member of Parliament for Pandai, notwithstanding the letter from the, the Clerk of Parliament. You see, per the Constitution, the Court of Appeal has the final say in upholding the validity or otherwise of parliamentary elections in Ghana. It doesn't enter the High Court. So once there is a competent petition, there is a competent notice of appeal which has been filed at the Court of Appeal. It means that per the constitutional arrangement, there is still a dispute. There is still a dispute as to the validity or otherwise of the 2024 7th December parliamentary elections of the Pandai constituency. So my client is optimistic that at the end of the day, rule of law will prevail. And today we were in court to have the ruling on the motion for stay of execution that was moved sometime, I think, on the 16th of December. No, it was moved on the 10th of December, and the court adjourned it to today for his opinion or ruling. We went to court. Then, unfortunately, were told the judge was indisposed, for which reason the ruling was not delivered. But whatever be the case, looking at the hierarchy of the court structure of Ghana, once the Supreme Court has even already stayed the elections, it doesn't lie with the High Court to even now say that the elections should go ahead. Mind you, his order was for the elections to be run within 30 days. So now, the effect is that the 30 days will elapse on 24th of December. That is according to the High Court decision. So if the 30 days elapse on 24th December 2024, what it means is that if that order is supposed to be obeyed at all, then you must go to court for extension of the order. You get that?
Right, I see.
Yes, but all this will come to a halt if we were to succeed in the certiorari application pending before the Supreme Court. Once the Supreme Court has ordered that the election should be withheld we should hold on for the meantime, whilst it looks into our application for certiorari, the High Court, with the greatest of respect, ruling has even become moot, because the High Court could not have come out today to say that it is, for example, refusing the stay. So EC, go ahead and conduct the elections on the 30th of December 2025. That is not possible. That would have amounted to contempt of the Supreme Court interim orders. So I think even if the judge was not indisposed rather, the only option for the judge was to come out and say that he will stay put pending the outcome of the Supreme Court decision on the certiorari application. Because those interim orders have more or less rendered the decision that the High Court was coming to give on the motion for stay of execution application moot or irrelevant, because you cannot still talk about the matter when the Apex Court, which has supervisory jurisdiction over the High Court, and then still proceed to make pronouncements contrary to what the Apex Court has already said.
Right. So, Sylvester, briefly, is it fair to deduce that your client at the moment has stopped campaigning?
No, campaign for what? Because from where we stand, there is no proper vacancy, so-called, because we are still contesting the decision. We respect the decision because it came from a competent court, but we strongly disagree with it, and that is why we are fighting the third decision before the Supreme Court. We are fighting the third decision before the Court of Appeal. We are optimistic that even the substantive appeal might be ready for hearing in January, but nothing prevents my client at the moment from his usual rounds. He's on the ground.
Right.
As you can see the research report from the Global Info
Analysis.
You get that. So definitely, if we were to even go for a rerun, all things being equal, and after all the legal processes have been exhausted, we are still optimistic that the voice of the people is the voice of God.
Thank you.
And the very good people of Panda know what is good for them.
Sylvester, thank you. Thank you so much for speaking with us. Sylvester Isang is lawyer for the embattled MP Matthew Nyendam there. Let's still stay on this conversation and bring into the conversation Rashid Tanko Computer, the Deputy Director of Elections of the NDC. Rashid, good evening. Thank you so much for staying on the line for us. I don't know whether or not the NDC candidate for the Pandai constituency election rerun, has he stopped campaigning? Is he still campaigning?
My brother, let me say good evening to you and your cherished listeners across the globe. We are busy campaigning in the constituency because the Supreme Court has not asked us to stop. And then so they've only put a small eyes on it, on the election. So it has given us ample time, more time for us to campaign. And we'd want to have a very big margin. In fact, the defeat we want to hand down MPP after the new year. Well, this is a good omen for them. At least they can have respite for 25th December celebration, Christmas, and they can also have a new year. And then on the 30th, we go and slug it out and then move to Panda to let them know that we are on the path of resetting the country. And a lot of communities want to join the reset agenda.
Does the deferment of the judgment, does it in any way put a dent in your legal arsenals, what you had in mind? Does it affect your plan in any way?
That's why I told you that it has rather given us ample time for us to do more campaigning. You know, we're going to use 2 weeks to try to overturn their lead because Musa Danko came out with an opinion poll which indicated that they were the lead. Is that not right?
That's true.
And so we're going to use 2 weeks to try to overturn it. Now we have been given additional 13 days. So we should be happy with it because we have gotten more time to overturn what they were trying to do. Nonetheless, they are also there campaigning. They are in the constituency. And so we know what they are about. And then we are ready for them.
I see.
For the election.
I see. Rashid, stay on the line for me. Let me take you to the eastern belt of the country where the Ofori Atta High Court has dismissed the election petition filed against the Suhum Member of Parliament, Frank Asiedu-Dartey of the NPP. In a ruling delivered by the supervising High Court judge, His Lordship Justice George Ofori Atta, the court also awarded cost of 200,000 cedis against the petitioners. The petition followed the declaration of the results for the December 2024 parliamentary elections in the Suhum constituency. And the petitioners, they had asked the court to invalidate the results, citing alleged electoral infractions at some polling stations. The petitioners, former Suhum NPP MP who contested the 2024 elections as an independent candidate. There's also Obuafo Kwadwo Asante and the NDC parliamentary candidate, Prince Kwadwo. They sought an order to have the election declared null and void and called for a rerun in the affected polling station. However, the court ruled that the petition lacked merit and sufficient evidence, leading to its dismissal and the award of costs against the petitioners. Rashid, I'm sure this has come to your notice. How does the NDC respond to this?
Well, I mean, we respect the decision of the court. It's the decision of the court. I mean, the court is clothed with the powers to decide on election petition, the High Court, and they've done it. They've done justice to it. Justice, you only get justice in the law courts. You don't get it outside the law court. And so if the court so decided that our case that we sent did not meet the threshold to warrant a rerun or cancellation, I mean, we will accept it in good faith.
So this is a case
we are
of
law-abiding.
This is a case of you accept but you disagree.
Well, that's what I'm saying, that we accept it in good faith. We respect the decision of the High Court. We as a political party, we are not lawless people. That a judge will make a ruling, then we'll go and organize press conference, start running down the judge and saying all manner of unprintable words against the judge. And then we still go back to the same court seeking for justice. We are not that type. The NDC is the most law-abiding political party. I mean, we went there, we followed through the matter until judgment was delivered today, right?
That's true.
And then we lost it. I mean, we respected it. That is judgment for you. Well, that's how the court rules. You go there either to win or to lose. And then so we'll take it on board. We'll go onto the drawing board, see next time what we need to do
so that this problem will not arise again, maybe in the next elections and all that. I get in it.
Right.
I mean, so we have no problem. We have no qualms with the ruling. The only thing is that we are grateful to the court. Next time, we will come in a different form again.
Rashid Tanko Computer, thank you. Thank you so much for your time with us on the program. Rashid Tanko Computer is Deputy Director of Elections of the NDC. This is still hot edition on 3FM 92.7 live, also on all our social media platforms at 3FM 927. It's now time to bring you some business news with Bismarck Awusa.
Hello, good evening and welcome to the business segment on Hot Edition on 3FM 92.7. Coming up tonight, IMF board rates Ghana's program performance broadly satisfactory as it approves fifth review and releases $385 million. We'll bring you details of our headline and other stories shortly. Please stay. Thanks for your company. Now to the details. The Executive Board of the International Monetary Fund has described Ghana's performance under its IMF-supported program as broadly satisfactory despite delays in some complex structural reforms. The assessment follows the board's approval of Ghana's fifth program review, unlocking an immediate $385 million and bringing total IMF support to about $2.8 billion. There is more in the following three business news desk report. The International Monetary Fund says Ghana's macroeconomic stabilization is gaining momentum with strong growth and single-digit inflation recorded for the first time since 2021. In approving Ghana's fifth program review, the IMF Executive Board noted that while some structural reforms have faced delays, overall program performance remains broadly satisfactory. The decision has triggered the immediate release of about $385 million, pushing total disbursements under the program to roughly $2.8 billion. The fund commended Ghana government for making significant progress in public debt restructuring, including signing debt relief agreements with several members of the Official Creditor Committee. And that was a three business news this report. Now, the Ghana Chamber of Construction Industry says it is hopeful that the government's Big Push agenda will prioritize the settlement of outstanding payments owed to its members and help end the persistent cycle of delayed payments for completed projects. Speaking to Three Business, the newly elected chairman of the chamber, Nana Opareko I, said engagements have already been held with the sector minister and he is confident the concerns raised will be addressed promptly.
It's about work. And when you work, you look forward to be paid. We hear from the current administration about a lot of debts regarding road construction. So it was quite an alarming news when we hear about this death. But can be this big push agenda relieves us from those sort of trouble. For instance, we have had a couple of meetings with the road minister who has given it a framework as to how even the arrears are going to be retired by the government, and the current big push agenda, which has stipulated that projects that are constructed will be paid within a very short period of time. And that is all what we are looking for.
Nana Oparikwa the first is chairman of the Ghana Chamber of Construction Industry. Before we go, the Deputy Minister for Communication, Digital Technology and Innovation says Ghana's pension institutions must evolve to meet the needs of younger, more digital workforce. He adds that as more Ghanaians move into the gig economy, efforts must be made to ensure they have secure pension engagements or arrangements.
The Deputy Minister says the country's pension system must adapt quickly as millions of young professionals increasingly rely on mobile phones and digital platforms for everyday services. He stressed that pension service providers must respond by offering virtual technology-driven services that meet workers where they are. His comments come as SNIT launches a new digital platform aimed at modernizing pension access.
Over the next few years, these digitally influenced mobile young professionals will constitute a major part of our national pension contributors. Our pension institutions must therefore evolve. They must meet workers where they are, on their phones, digital platforms, and across virtual spaces.
In response to these changing needs, SNIT has unveiled its virtual branch, a platform designed to allow contributors to access pension services without visiting a physical office. The system enables members to check statements, update records, register, and make enquiries online as part of efforts to improve convenience and expand coverage.
Because it's centralized, irrespective of where you sit, you can interact with the team here because it's at a central point and they are prepared to serve 24/7 to ensure that there is no moment that we are inaccessible to the people that we serve.
And that report by my colleague Michael Obodu, bringing us to the end of Hot Edition on 3FM 92.7 with me, Bismarck Ausa. For more stories, please check out our website 3news.com. Thanks for your company.